some lines, and I'm going to use a ruler here. So you should get your own ruler on your own piece of paper. And here at -4, I'm going to do my best to touch this ruler to -4 there, and I think I got it. And there. Now I'm going to sketch this tangent line, and that's pretty steep. Let's do the same thing for another spot where we think the slope of the tangent line at the given point is positive. Would that be at -1, at 0, at 2, or at 4? If you said 4, you're correct. So please get your ruler out. And now if you notice, if I try to move this ruler here, which has the same slope as the tangent line at f of -4, and I move it to 4, what do you notice? It isn't quite the tangent line here. I have to make this line less steep. That is, I have to make it less positive. So suddenly when I draw this line, I can clearly see that the derivative, that is the slope of the tangent line of this purple graph at f equals -4 is larger than at x equals 4. And if you're having trouble seeing this, imagine you're hiking uphill on both of these slopes. Which of these hikes has a higher grade? This one does. This one is going to be higher up for every single forward distance you go, whereas this one's probably a lot easier to walk up. So now when I'm organizing these, I'm going to put a 0 here. And f prime of 4, I mean, is positive, and f prime of -4 is even more positive. So those are all done. And those are the only places where the tangent line is positive. Okay, let me erase all my doodles. And now let's do the same thing. So let's get our ruler out again. And at -1, let's turn this here. So our ruler matches the slope at -1. There it is. That's fairly close, I'd say. And now I'm going to go ahead and sketch a tangent line. All right, so there is a line tangent to this purple graph at -1, and its slope is clearly negative. And now I just have to determine, is it more or less negative than the slope at 0 or at 2? So I'm going to switch colors and do the slope at 0. But again, it's really clear that when I go to 0, I have to make my line more steep. So already I can say that the tangent line has a slope that is more negative at 0 than it is at -1. So far I know f prime of 0 is more negative than f prime of -1. So let's see where f prime of 2 fits in with these. So again, I'm going to get my ruler. And here's f prime of 2. And let's not be deceived. This isn't quite the same slope. It's more like this. And let me make this one green. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. Which of these slopes is more negative? So again, let's imagine someone walking downhill. If you're walking downhill on this blue slope, which is the derivative of this function, that is the slope of the tangent line at 0, that's a pretty steep walk. If you start running, you might fall a little bit downhill. So now let's see, what about over here on the red line? So if you're someone walking here, it's an easier walk downhill. It isn't as steep. What about with the green line? So if I move it, it becomes a little more obvious that it's sandwiched between these two. That is, this green line is not as negative of a hike as this blue line, but it is more negative, that is more steep downhill than the red line. So what I know is I need to squeeze in f prime of 2 right here. All right, so what does that tell me? Let me make some space by erasing all these extra doodles here. That tells me that the slope closest to 0 that is negative is the slope of the tangent line at -1. Then we have the slope of the tangent line of 2 being more negative, and then finally the slope of the tangent line at 0 being the most negative. And now we've used up all these values and arranged them in an appropriate order from smallest to largest. As an extra challenge, you might want to actually compute the slope of each of the tangent lines, that is, sketch your lines that are tangent to this purple curve at -4, at -1, at 0, at 2, and at 4, and then using the same technique you would have learned in a basic algebra class, count how many steps or units you go upward, and then how many steps or units you go to the right. If you're going downward, of course, the slope is negative, and you can actually visually compute the numerical values of the slopes of each of these tangent lines at those points, and that would help you verify the inequalities you got above. We'll see an example in the next module that covers how to do this. But for now, this is a great example that you don't always have to go through all of that effort for these problems. Often an estimate will do the trick. I hope this video was helpful.